There will be moments in life when it feels like nobody cares about you. You might feel invisible, forgotten, or even unworthy. But let me tell you something important. It's not the world's job to care about you. It's your job to care for yourself, and that is where your power lies. There comes a time in all of our lives when we are reminded that the only person truly responsible for our happiness is ourselves. We can search for validation in others, hope for someone to care for our emotional needs, or expect the world to make us feel complete, but none of that ever leads to lasting fulfillment. The truth is, the journey to emotional well-being begins from within, and it is entirely in our hands. The moment we recognize that we are responsible for our emotional health is the moment we take back our power. In today's world, we often find ourselves caught up in the expectations and pressures placed upon us by others. Whether it's family, friends, society, or even the images we see in the media, there is a constant pull to conform, to fit in, and to seek approval. Yet, in this quest to gain acceptance, we often lose sight of the most important relationship we will ever have, the one with ourselves. This relationship sets the foundation for how we navigate the world and how we handle life's challenges. Caring for yourself emotionally means tuning into your own needs, desires, and feelings. It's about recognizing when you're hurting and taking the necessary steps to heal, rather than pushing those emotions aside in the hopes that someone else will fix them. Emotional self-care requires acknowledging that your well-being is not dependent on how others treat you, but on how you treat yourself. Others may offer love, support, and comfort, but they cannot be the source of your happiness. Only you can cultivate the emotional environment in which you thrive. When you begin to take responsibility for your emotional well-being, you create a sense of inner stability. You no longer rely on external circumstances to determine how you feel about yourself or your life. Instead, you learn to find peace within, no matter what is happening around you. This doesn't mean you won't experience pain or hardship. Those are natural parts of life. But when you are connected to your own emotional needs, you are better equipped to handle challenges in a healthy and balanced way. One of the most empowering aspects of emotional self-care is the realization that you have the ability to change your inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself has a profound impact on your emotional state. Often we are our own harshest critics, telling ourselves that we're not good enough, not deserving of love, or not capable of success. But just as you've been conditioned to believe those negative thoughts, you can recondition yourself to think positively. This process starts with self-awareness. Begin by paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind. Are they supportive or critical? Do they uplift you or bring you down? Once you become aware of your inner dialogue, you can begin to shift it. Replace harsh criticism with kindness. Instead of telling yourself that you're not enough, remind yourself that you are worthy, capable, and deserving of happiness. By practicing positive affirmations and encouraging self-talk, you can gradually create a more nurturing emotional space within yourself. Caring for your emotional well-being also involves setting boundaries. It's important to recognize that not every relationship or situation is conducive to your emotional health. Sometimes, in order to protect yourself, you need to step away from toxic environments or people who drain your energy. This is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of self-preservation. By setting boundaries, you are honoring your emotional needs and ensuring that you are not sacrificing your well-being for the sake of others. Another crucial aspect of emotional self-care is learning to forgive yourself. Many of us carry around guilt or shame for mistakes we've made in the past, and this emotional weight can be overwhelming. But holding on to those feelings only prolongs your suffering. Forgiveness is a key part of healing. When you allow yourself to let go of past mistakes and give yourself permission to move forward, you create space for emotional freedom and growth. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what has happened. It simply means choosing to release the burden and focus on your own healing. Self-care isn't just about bubble baths, meditation, or taking time off. While those practices can be helpful, true emotional self-care is deeper. It's about cultivating a relationship with yourself that is based on love, respect, and compassion. It's about showing up for yourself even when things are difficult and committing to your own emotional growth. The more you take responsibility for your emotional well-being, the more you will realize how much power you have to shape your life. In the end, no one else can make you feel whole or complete. That work comes from within. And when you begin to take responsibility for your own emotional health, you reclaim your power, you become the source of your own joy, your own peace, and your own healing. And in that space, you will find a sense of fulfillment that no one else can give you. In our journey through life, one of the most liberating realizations we can come to is that our worth is not tied to the validation or approval of others. From a young age, we are often conditioned to seek approval from the outside world, from parents, teachers, friends, and society at large. We learn to measure our success based on the opinions of those around us, and our sense of self can become entangled with how others perceive us. But this external validation is fleeting, and if we rely on it to define our worth, we set ourselves up for a life of insecurity and dissatisfaction. True worth comes from within, and it is something that no one else can give you or take away. The moment you start to recognize that your value is inherent, something you carry simply by being alive, is the moment you take control of your own life. You begin to see that your self-esteem does not need to rise and fall based on what others think of you. Their opinions are reflections of their own experiences and perspectives, not an accurate measure of your worth. It is easy to get caught up in the idea that you need validation to feel complete. The world often tells us that in order to be successful, loved, or happy, we must first be recognized by others. We may seek validation in many ways through our careers, relationships, social media, or material achievements. While it's natural to want to be appreciated, these forms of external validation are fragile and temporary. When the applause fades or when someone criticizes us, our sense of self can be thrown into turmoil. But when you understand that your worth is not dependent on those outside sources, you create a solid foundation of confidence and self-love. You do not need anyone's approval to be worthy. You are already enough just as you are. Your talents, your kindness, your uniqueness, these qualities make you valuable, regardless of whether others acknowledge them. The most important validation comes from yourself. When you validate your own experiences, dreams, and feelings, you start to build a sense of inner peace that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. The journey towards self-worth begins with recognizing that no one else can define you and no one else has the authority to determine your value. It's important to understand that seeking validation is often rooted in fear. We fear rejection, we fear not being enough, and we fear that without approval we are somehow lesser. But these fears are illusions. In reality, the need for validation comes from a misunderstanding of who we truly are. When we think we need others to confirm our worth, we give away our power. We hand over control of our happiness to those who may or may not appreciate us for who we are. This is a dangerous place to be because it leaves us vulnerable to the opinions and judgments of others, which can change on a whim. However, when you take back that power and decide that you are the one who determines your worth, everything changes. You no longer need to chase approval or fit into someone else's idea of success. You can embrace your individuality and live authentically, knowing that your value is constant and unshakable. The freedom that comes from not needing others' validation is immense. You become free to pursue your passion, speak your truth, and live in a way that feels true to you, rather than trying to mold yourself into something that will please others. Self-worth is not something you have to earn or prove. It exists simply because you do. The more you connect with this truth, the less you will feel the need to impress or gain approval from anyone else. You will begin to live from a place of self-assurance, knowing that the opinions of others are just that, opinions. They do not define you. And once you understand this, you can move through the world with confidence, not worrying about whether or not people recognize your worth. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to stop seeking validation and start affirming your own value. This doesn't mean you won't appreciate kind words or recognition when they come, but it does mean that your sense of self will no longer be tied to them. You will feel whole and complete within yourself, regardless of whether others notice or acknowledge it. When you reach this point, you become truly empowered. You are no longer at the mercy of other people's judgments, and you can live in alignment with your own truth. Ultimately, your worth is intrinsic. It is not based on how much money you make, how many friends you have, how successful you appear, or how many people applaud you. It is based on your very existence, on the fact that you are a unique and valuable individual with your own thoughts, talents, and contributions to offer. No one else has the right to decide your value because that value comes from within you. When you embrace this understanding, you will find peace, confidence, and a deep sense of self-love that no amount of external validation could ever provide. Self-compassion is often misunderstood or overlooked in the pursuit of healing, but it plays a profound role in helping us move through pain and emotional challenges. In a world that often encourages us to push through difficulties to get over it, or to hide our vulnerabilities, we forget the most essential part of the healing process: being gentle and kind with ourselves. Compassion for yourself is not a sign of weakness, it is an act of courage. It is a powerful way to create space for healing, because in those moments of kindness, we allow ourselves to be human, to make mistakes, and to feel deeply without judgment or harsh criticism. When we experience pain, whether it's emotional, physical, or mental, our first instinct is often to fix it, to make it go away as quickly as possible. But healing doesn't happen in an instant, and it doesn't happen by forcing ourselves to move on before we're ready. True healing begins when we offer ourselves the same love and understanding that we would offer to a close friend. Imagine how you would respond to someone you care about if they were going through a difficult time. You would likely offer words of support, reassurance, and comfort. You wouldn't criticize them or tell them to toughen up yet. When it comes to ourselves, we often do the opposite. We judge our emotions, we belittle our struggles, and we tell ourselves that we should be stronger or more resilient. Compassion for yourself means recognizing that it's okay to feel hurt, to feel broken, and to need time to heal. It's about acknowledging that you're doing the best you can with what you have in any given moment. Healing doesn't require you to be perfect, it requires you to be present with your pain and to treat yourself with care. When you practice self-compassion, you give yourself permission to heal at your own pace without the pressure of meeting anyone else's expectations, including your own. This act of self-kindness creates space for healing because it removes the resistance we often have to our own pain. When we resist our emotions, when we try to push them away or deny them, they only grow stronger. The more we avoid our pain, the more it festers beneath the surface. But when we meet our pain with compassion, we allow it to exist without adding layers of shame or guilt. We create a safe space within ourselves where healing can begin. Compassion says, I see you, I acknowledge your pain, and I am here for you. In this space of compassion, we also become more open to understanding the root causes of our pain. Often we judge ourselves harshly for experiencing emotions like sadness, anger, or fear, thinking that we should be above such feelings. But these emotions are natural responses to the experiences we've had, and they carry valuable information about what needs healing within us. When we offer ourselves compassion, we stop trying to suppress these emotions, and instead we start to listen to them. We begin to understand what they are trying to tell us, and this understanding is a crucial part of the healing process. Compassion also helps to break the cycle of self-criticism that so many of us fall into. When something goes wrong in our lives, it's easy to blame ourselves, to think that we could have done something differently or that we should have been stronger. But self-blame only keeps us stuck in the pain. It prevents us from moving forward because we are constantly criticizing ourselves for not being enough compassion. On the other hand, frees us from this cycle. It allows us to accept our imperfections and our humanity. It gives us the space to learn from our experiences without condemning ourselves for them. Moreover, self-compassion can help us build resilience. Life will always present challenges, and there will be moments of hardship and loss. But when we approach these challenges with compassion, we cultivate the inner strength needed to navigate them with grace. Compassion doesn't mean that the pain will disappear instantly, but it gives us the patience and gentleness we need to heal over time. It helps us understand that healing is a process, one that requires us to be kind to ourselves, even when things are difficult. Finally, self-compassion opens the door to deeper self-love. When we are compassionate with ourselves, we begin to treat ourselves with the same care and tenderness that we would offer to someone we love. This kind of love is transformative because it nurtures the parts of ourselves that feel wounded or neglected. It teaches us that we are worthy of love and care, no matter what we've been through or how we feel. And when we love ourselves, we naturally move toward healing because love is one of the most powerful forces of transformation. In the end, compassion for yourself is not just a tool for healing, it is the foundation upon which healing rests. It creates the space for you to be vulnerable, to feel your emotions, and to heal at your own pace, free from judgment or pressure. Compassion is the gentle voice that reminds you that it's okay to not have all the answers, that it's okay to feel pain, and that you are worthy of healing. When you offer yourself this gift of compassion, you open the door to true healing from within. Releasing the need for external approval is one of the most liberating steps you can take toward personal growth and true self-acceptance. From a young age, many of us are conditioned to seek validation from others, be it through praise from parents, teachers, friends, or even social media. We are often taught to measure our worth based on how we are perceived, and this leads to a dependency on external approval. However, this need for validation can keep us stuck in a cycle of seeking praise and avoiding disapproval, leaving us vulnerable to the whims of others. Letting go of this need is key to living a life that is authentic and fulfilling. When you depend on external approval, you give your power away. Your sense of worth becomes tied to what others think of you, and you lose sight of your own value. You may find yourself making decisions based on what will please others rather than what is true to you. This can result in a life that feels out of alignment, where you are constantly trying to fit into molds created by others. The pursuit of approval can lead to anxiety, self-doubt, and a loss of connection with your authentic self. However, when you release the need for external approval, you reclaim your power. You begin to live according to your own values and desires rather than being swayed by outside opinions. Letting go of the need for validation requires a shift in perspective. It means recognizing that your worth is intrinsic and does not depend on how others view you. This doesn't mean you won't care about others' opinions, but it does mean that your sense of self will no longer be dictated by them. Instead of seeking validation from the outside world, you learn to validate yourself. You become the source of your own approval, which allows you to feel more grounded and secure, regardless of external circumstances. The desire for approval often stems from a fear of rejection or a fear of not being enough. We may believe that if others don't approve of us, we are somehow inadequate or unworthy. But this is a false belief. Approval or disapproval from others is merely a reflection of their own perceptions, experiences, and beliefs. It does not define who you are or what you are capable of. When you release the need for others to validate you, you free yourself from the pressure of trying to live up to their expectations. You begin to trust in your own abilities, decisions, and instincts, knowing that your worth is not dependent on external validation. One of the biggest barriers to letting go of external approval is the fear of being judged. It's natural to want to be liked and accepted, but the reality is that you cannot control how others perceive you. No matter how much you try to conform or please others, there will always be people who don't approve. This is because everyone sees the world through their own lens, shaped by their own experiences, biases, and beliefs. Trying to meet everyone's expectations is not only impossible, but it also leads to a fragmented sense of self. The more you try to please others, the more you lose touch with your own truth. However, when you stop worrying about how others perceive you, you start to live in alignment with who you truly are. This is where true freedom lies. Letting go of external approval doesn't mean you stop caring about others or become indifferent to feedback. Constructive feedback can be valuable, and it's important to be open to learning and growth. But the difference is that when you release the need for approval, you no longer rely on it to determine your worth. You can take feedback without internalizing it as a measure of your value. You become more resilient, able to stand strong in your own identity, even when faced with criticism or disapproval. This journey of releasing external approval requires self-compassion and patience. It's not about becoming immune to others' opinions, but about developing a stronger connection to yourself. When you practice self-compassion, you give yourself permission to be imperfect. You recognize that you are worthy of love and acceptance, regardless of what others think. This self-compassion is what allows you to let go of the need for approval, because you are no longer seeking something that you can already give to yourself. Releasing the need for approval also opens up new possibilities for authenticity and creativity. When you are no longer concerned with how others perceive you, you become free to express yourself fully. You can pursue your passions, make bold decisions, and live in a way that feels true to you. This kind of authenticity attracts the right people into your life, those who appreciate you for who you really are, not for who you are trying to be. It also allows you to contribute to the world in a more meaningful way because your actions are coming from a place of inner truth rather than a desire to fit in or be liked. Ultimately, letting go of the need for external approval is about coming home to yourself. It's about recognizing that you are enough just as you are without needing anyone else to confirm it. When you release the need for others to validate your worth, you step into your own power. You become more confident, more authentic, and more at peace with yourself. This is the foundation for true self-love and personal freedom, and it allows you to live a life that is aligned with your deepest values and desires, rather than being shaped by the expectations of others. The thoughts we hold in our minds are far more powerful than most of us realize. They shape our perceptions, influence our emotions, and ultimately guide the actions we take in our lives. Every experience we have is colored by the way we think, and the power of our thoughts can either limit or empower us. Whether we are conscious of it or not, our internal dialogue, the constant stream of thoughts that run through our minds, plays a significant role in shaping the world we experience. Our thoughts create our reality because they form the lens through which we interpret everything. When we think positively, we tend to notice opportunities, possibilities, and beauty around us. When our thoughts are negative, we are more likely to focus on limitations, problems, and the things that seem to go wrong. This is not merely a matter of perception, but a matter of the energy we bring into every situation. When we approach life with a positive mindset, we create an environment of openness and receptivity. We attract experiences that reflect our internal state. Conversely, when we dwell on negative thoughts, we shut ourselves off from opportunities and invite more of the same energy into our lives. The power of thought also extends to how we perceive ourselves. Self-talk, the inner dialogue we have about who we are and what we're capable of, shapes our sense of self-worth and our confidence. If we repeatedly tell ourselves that we are not good enough, that we are not capable, or that we will fail, those thoughts will become ingrained in our belief system. Over time, we begin to live out those beliefs, often without realizing that they started as simple thoughts. On the other hand, if we affirm to ourselves that we are capable, strong, and deserving, those thoughts build confidence and lead to actions that reflect self-assurance. The key to harnessing the power of your thoughts lies in awareness. Many of us are not fully conscious of the thoughts running through our minds on a daily basis. We may become trapped in habitual thinking patterns, repeating the same thoughts over and over without questioning them. These patterns can be shaped by past experiences, conditioning, or societal influences. However, when we bring awareness to our thoughts, we gain the ability to choose them. We can decide whether a thought serves us or holds us back. This is the essence of taking control of your mind and, by extension, your life. Changing your thoughts is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about shifting your focus to what is possible, rather than dwelling on what is wrong. For example, when faced with a challenge, it's easy to focus on the obstacles and to feel overwhelmed by them. But if you consciously shift your thoughts towards solutions, your experience changes. Instead of feeling stuck, you begin to see the steps you can take to move forward. You cultivate resilience because you train your mind to look for possibilities rather than problems. Our thoughts are also deeply connected to our emotions. Negative thoughts often generate feelings of fear, anxiety, or sadness, while positive thoughts can bring about feelings of hope, joy, and peace. Emotions, in turn, shape our behavior. When we feel confident and optimistic, we are more likely to take action, to try new things, and to persevere in the face of setbacks. When we feel fearful or discouraged, we are more likely to withdraw, procrastinate, or give up. Therefore, by changing our thoughts, we can change not only how we feel, but also how we act and the results we create in our lives. One of the most transformative practices for harnessing the power of your thoughts is cultivating a mindset of gratitude. When you focus on what you are grateful for, you shift your thoughts away from what is lacking or wrong in your life. Gratitude helps to reframe your experiences, making it easier to see the positive aspects of any situation. This shift in perspective doesn't just make you feel better in the moment, it also opens you up to more positive experiences. When you are in a state of gratitude, you attract more things to be grateful for, because your thoughts are aligned with abundance rather than scarcity. It's important to note that the power of thought doesn't mean that you can control everything in your life simply by thinking positively. There will always be circumstances beyond your control. However, what you can control is how you respond to those circumstances, and your response is determined by your thoughts. By choosing empowering thoughts, you create a foundation of strength and resilience that allows you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. In the end, the power of your thoughts is the key to transforming your life from the inside out. Every thought you think sends out a ripple of energy that shapes your reality. By becoming aware of your thoughts and consciously choosing those that serve your highest good, you take an active role in creating the experiences you desire. You realize that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances, but that you have the power within you to shape your life. This realization is the first step toward living a life of purpose, fulfillment, and joy. Your thoughts are powerful. Use them wisely. Loving and nurturing your own heart is essential for personal growth, emotional well-being, and a life of fulfillment. The heart is the core of who you are, where your deepest feelings, desires, and dreams reside. Taking the time to care for and nurture your heart allows you to thrive in all areas of life, from relationships to personal achievements. However, many people neglect this essential act of self-love, instead focusing their energy outward on others or external accomplishments. When you shift your attention inward and prioritize your own heart, you build the foundation for a more resilient, peaceful, and joyful existence. One of the first steps in loving and nurturing your heart is to acknowledge your own needs. In a fast-paced world filled with distractions and responsibilities, it's easy to ignore the signals your heart sends you. You may find yourself constantly giving to others, whether it's in your work, family, or friendships, without taking time to fill your own emotional cup. But in order to truly give to others, you must first be full within yourself. Nurturing your heart means listening to what it needs, whether that's rest, solitude, connection, or creativity, and honoring those needs without guilt or judgment. Caring for your heart also involves cultivating self-compassion. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments, and it's natural to be hard on yourself during difficult times. But self-compassion allows you to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a dear friend. When you make mistakes or face struggles, rather than criticizing yourself, self-compassion encourages you to say, "It's okay. I'm doing the best I can." This gentle, supportive approach not only soothes your heart, but also helps you build resilience, making it easier to bounce back from life's ups and downs. Nurturing your heart means recognizing its worth. Too often, people base their self-worth on external factors, achievements, appearance, relationships, or the approval of others. But your heart's value is intrinsic. It does not depend on what you do or how you are perceived by the outside world. When you nurture your heart, you acknowledge that you are worthy simply because you exist. This deep sense of self-worth is the foundation of true confidence. It frees you from the need to constantly seek validation or approval from others, allowing you to stand strong in your own sense of who you are. Another aspect of nurturing your heart is allowing yourself to feel your emotions fully. Many people suppress or avoid their emotions, especially the difficult ones like sadness, anger, or fear. But when you suppress your emotions, you are also cutting yourself off from your heart. True nurturing comes from creating space for all your feelings without judgment or resistance. This means acknowledging your pain, processing it, and letting it move through you rather than pushing it away. By allowing yourself to feel, you give your heart the opportunity to heal and grow. This emotional openness is essential for thriving because it enables you to live authentically and connect more deeply with yourself and others. Taking time for self-care is another crucial way to nurture your heart. Self-care is not selfish, it is an act of love that replenishes your energy and keeps you grounded. This can be as simple as taking a walk in nature, practicing meditation, engaging in creative activities, or spending time with loved ones who lift your spirit. Whatever form it takes, self-care helps you reconnect with yourself and fosters a sense of peace and well-being. It sends a message to your heart that you matter, that your needs are important, and that you deserve care and attention. Lastly, nurturing your heart involves practicing gratitude. When you focus on the good in your life, you open your heart to more joy, abundance, and love. Gratitude shifts your perspective from lack to abundance, allowing you to appreciate the beauty in both small and significant moments. This practice not only nourishes your heart, but also strengthens your resilience during tough times. When you consciously cultivate gratitude, you create an inner environment where your heart can thrive, no matter what external circumstances arise. In essence, nurturing your heart is an ongoing journey of self-love, self-awareness, and self-compassion. It's about honoring your emotional and spiritual needs and giving yourself permission to prioritize your well-being. When you make the choice to love and nurture your heart, you create a foundation for a life of joy, peace, and fulfillment. You become more resilient in the face of challenges and more open to the beauty and possibilities that life has to offer. Most importantly, by caring for your own heart, you are able to share that love with others from a place of abundance rather than depletion, creating deeper, more meaningful connections and experiences.